The first 2.5 months, not on any GLP-1s, I lost 20 pounds. It was basically inflammation. My hands, my feet, I was like, even in my feet, my shoes are like loose and everything. This feels weird, but it's a good thing. If you have everything set, all of the systems flushed the way you said to do, it just happened. And it seemed like it just almost happened overnight.
I remember exactly when you came in, if I could just a little bit see something on the scale within 60 days, you weren't even believing that it could come off. What we have discovered together is that there is a lot of metabolic damage going on, like high insulin, high leptin, hemoglobin H1C. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am extremely excited today on this beautiful Monday to have my dear health participant Cheryl with me. Hi, Cheryl. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Today is a beautiful recording. Today is really all about Cheryl and to give the space for her to just share her story, because I think it's, again, a very, very beautiful story that she brings. We are to this point, we are 3 months into her protocol. But yeah, Cheryl, I would like to give the stage right over to you.
Okay.
Because you are not a lazy person when you came to me. But some things were not quite right? Where have you been in your health and weight journey that brought you actually to me, and what has happened to you?
So I found you on Instagram. So after just searching and searching, trying to find an answer, trying to figure out why can I not lose this weight? I was a past athlete, been an athlete all my life, played sports, track, volleyball, weightlifting, basketball, also officiated college basketball, and all my life surrounded was around weight issues. You know, you need to lose more weight. You need to do this, get your weight down, things of that nature. But I was still going with the best with with everyone else, all the other athletes. So I'm like, I guess that's what they want to see, until I got into the point where high school, I was still an athlete, but I was still overweight. I got into college where I did track and field events, and weight at that point, I needed the weight because I was doing field events such as the shot put, the discus, and the javelin. And so you needed that power, that strength. And so once I finished my college career with track, I got into the sports of officiating college basketball, because basketball was always my passion. But what it takes to be a basketball or a referee official is that you needed to look apart, and you needed to be a certain size. It didn't need to be an issue with your weight running up and down the court. And so when I first started, my schedule would get bigger and bigger until I got to the point where, we would basically perform in the summertime to get our contracts for the actual season. My schedule started diminishing. And so I would talk to some of the coordinators, and they would tell me, Cheryl, you do a great job, but you still need to lose some more weight. And I'm like, I can call, make the best of calls in my sleep. And so at that point, I got to the point where I was trying everything. I had went from cutting my calories. I had went from doing cardio 2 or 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a day, just to, before the season started or before camp started, because in the summertime we would do our camps. And before camp started, I was, doing cardio in the morning, cardio before, at night, just to try to get some weight off. That didn't work. I did lose a little bit, but that was short lived, because once the season started, you went back to your old ways. But I officiated for at least 19 years, which was great, but it still left me a stinger, because it was like I wasn't able to reach my potential because of the weight issue. Okay. One day out the blue, I think it was like the end of the year, I was with my husband, and I told him, I said, hey, we know what it feels like when we eat out and things like that. Why don't we stop eating meat? And so he was like, he thought about it. I gave him about a week or 2 to think about it, because he's always supportive of me. So whatever he does, I do, or whatever I do, he does. And so we did it. We basically said, we're going to go vegan, vegetarian, and we'll see how it goes. So we did that I did it for 8 months. He did it for 6 months. He lost weight. I gained weight. And so even though internally I felt good, it was still like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I'm not eating anything. I'm still working out. What gives? I don't know I just felt like inside, that small child, I was like, something has to be wrong. I would still watch what I was eating. I stopped eating out fast food, things like that. And I was like, what gives? I don't know. And so I want to say up until, what is this, 2026, probably last year? Yeah, last year I had went to the doctor and I went to she was a PCOS doctor and she specialized in that. And so, she did my vitals, did my blood work, things of that nature. And she was telling me, my insulin was high and she put me on metformin and spirulactin. And so my husband wasn't very supportive of that because we don't, we normally don't get sick. And so he doesn't like taking any medicine like that. And so I was like, let me just give it a try to see what it does for a few months. And then if not, we'll stop. Probably 6 months after that, I'm still in the same position. No, I may have lost maybe a few pounds, 2 to 3 pounds within that time frame, but I'm still, she advised me to eat high protein and low carb, cut my carbs to like maybe 20 grams per day. And so I was like, okay, I'm used to that. I've done that before. And so I didn't want to keep continuing taking that medicine because it was tearing up my stomach on the inside. I don't know what other people go through when they take metformin, but it was tearing my stomach up. And so anything I ate, it ran right through. But I gave it a try. And then after that, I was like just searching, just thinking. And I gave myself some time to like, okay, what else can I do at this point? I even stopped working out, going to the gym. I was like, maybe I can just pause, give myself a break because my body is so used to going to the gym. Maybe I can just pause, give myself a rest. And so I, looking on Instagram, I found you and I was like, okay. I kept looking at your videos, kept looking at your reels and everything. I was like, oh, this makes sense. Everything that you was telling me, it makes sense, with the hormones, the insulin, the cortisol, everything. It has to be, cause we're a very scientific, special specimen, the human body. So I know the things that you were saying and putting out there, it clicked for me. And I was like, it's a little expensive, so let me think about it. But I'm like, I've always invested in other people. Everyone is always asking me for help. And I was like, I don't have any other like way to, I don't have any other choice at this point because either I'm going to either have a stroke one day or maybe have a heart attack because of my weight. I just don't know because I don't have all the answers. So I sought you and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for myself and, take out the funds because, like I said, it doesn't matter as far as the cost. It's the fact that you are knowledgeable and you've taught me step by step the things that was going on in my body. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it was clicking. And so when I sought you and I wanted to do everything that you told me to do, all the things that you told me to do, I did it. I cut out eating out. You told me about the coffee because I like coffee a little bit, You told me about the coffee, which was great. And everything, I was like, let me just stay laser focused on what I needed to do because nobody's going to do it for you other than you. And so I did everything that you told me to do. I have like my notebook here. Every time I'll go in there, I'll journal, see how I'm feeling every day. If I feel a little weird, I'll write that down. Now I'm not infatuated with the scale. So I told myself once a month, like after my cycle, I'll weigh myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I've been doing. And so the first 2.5 months, not on any GLP-1s, I lost 20 pounds. Mm-hmm. It just, it was just like all in my face. It was basically inflammation. And I was like, what is going on? This is crazy.
It worked for the body. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My hands, my feet. I was like, even in my feet, my shoes are like loose and everything. This feels weird, but it's a good thing. And so the 20 pounds went off and I was like, wow, that's amazing. That is like just crazy that it will just fall off if you have everything set, all of the systems flushed the way you said to do, it was like, it just happened. And it seemed like it just almost happened overnight. But like I said, I was watching what I was eating, writing things down. If I had cravings or anything like that, why was I having those cravings possibly? And it's just, it's clicking. And so I know I still have a few more months left. So it's probably ready to take it up another notch to see what else can I fine tune to, maybe if I need to go do more steps, or if I need to start incorporating weight training. I really haven't been doing a lot of weight training. I just basically been doing like bands, manual push-ups and things like that, just to like not throw everything off. Cause I feel like my body just needs a break. So up until that point, that's where I'm at right now.
And how many pounds are we down today? Did anyone move, or is it the 20 pounds? I'm
not at the 20. I'm at, let's see, I had my calculator, 291 to 264. That was the last time I weighed. So I have one more weigh in. What is this? The Saturday of Christmas. So that holiday, I'm going to weigh myself again to see where I'm at.
Yeah. Beautiful. But yeah. I remember exactly when you came into my first call with me together, because I always ask my health participants, what's your goal for 30 days, for 60 days, and for 90 days? And I remember like the first, because you've tried everything, right? Like everything that you explained so far, you have not been a lazy person. You've done your research. You have tried different diets, low carb, high carb, vegan, everything, and nothing worked. Right? Well, within 60 days, if I could just a little bit see something on the scales, like just something, you won't even believe that it could come off, because when you've tried so many times, right? Then at one point, it's just like, am I just a failure? Is this just going to be the way it's going to be? Very interesting also with the different diets, because we can talk a little bit about why they haven't worked, right? Like what we have discovered together is that there is a lot of metabolic damage going on, like high insulin, high leptin, hemoglobin H1C is elevated. And when we then do the diet, for example, the vegan diet, which is very, very rich in carbs, then we just continue to spike this, right? And then very interesting, because I asked you when I looked at your food chart, I was like, Cheryl, like I'm interested. Why do you eat so much protein? You were sharing with me that your doctor just said, like, eat more protein. But that's that you didn't even look at your current diet. You just advised you without even looking at your diet, just eat more protein. Based on that, your carbs were tanked, your fiber was tanked. Fiber is super, super important for your gut microbiome. We always need to eat for the way that we're eating. And that's what we've also discovered for you, right? There is an autoimmune issue, adjusted your diet, and now all of a sudden, all of the inflammation is going down.
Yeah. I mean, that diet is like, it's amazing, because the foods that I'm assuming that it triggered me, I wouldn't even think, like black pepper or cayenne pepper. I wouldn't even think that it would like inflame the body like that. I thought those were good things, but I don't, at this point, I don't even want to go back, because it feels so good. I have energy. I'm able to wake up in the morning and not rely on coffee or, for work, because I'm in front of 3 screens every day. I work from home, but I feel good. My joints don't hurt. When I'm working or walking or, getting on the elliptical or the bike, my joints don't hurt anymore. And I feel like I can just start running a half marathon right now. Yeah, I would love to go back, once I get a little bit more weight off, I would love to try to see if I can go back to start running, if that helps me. But if not, I can always find something else that will keep me active, something fun to do.
I mean, you can even just run some distance, right? Your body will exactly tell you what's good and what's not good for you. Listen to your body. What I would love to touch on, to talk a little bit more, is about the PCOS diagnosis, right? Because you had a diagnosis and then you went to the doctor. Actually, because a lot of doctors don't even get the combination. So the main underlying contributor to PCOS, there are obviously a lot of them, is insulin resistance, but also chronic stress. And we saw that there are a lot of pathogens in your body, toxins in your body, which also create a lot of underlying stress that you may not even notice, because it has to do with the emotional stress. Instead of like really asking what's causing your insulin resistance, just giving you a prescription that comes with a lot of side effects. Did she ever ask you or like investigate with you or explain to you what insulin resistance means or how to reverse it? Or was it just, okay, insulin resistance and here's the pill?
No, she told me in a very short form how it works when your insulin spikes and you continue and it needs to taper off. And I was like, it doesn't make sense, so I'll just, I'll listen to you for right now, but I'll see how it goes because, I don't have any choice. I have to find another way if this doesn't work, so yeah, she gave me a short summary of what it does and how it affects your insulin and things of that nature. And so I did cut out sugars and even fruit. So I was like, okay, I can't eat fruit. What am I supposed to eat? So it was like vegetables and protein at that point. So I was like, okay, this is not working. Everything that I'm eating or consuming, I'm going straight to the bathroom. It's like, this is not going to work. So my husband, he was like, okay, this is your last appointment. I was like, I thought about it. I was like, I don't know what else to do while I was sitting in the car getting ready to go in there. And he was like, don't go. He was with me. We was sitting in the car that day, my appointment. And he was like, don't go. This is not working. And it's like, yeah, let's go back to the drawing board to see what's going on. So, because he was an athlete too, he knew me since childhood. We both played sports. I played softball. He played baseball at our same local park, and we grew up when we were athletes. So he knew me a while. He knew part of our family and everything. So he knew what the struggle it was, but he knew what made me happy was actually refereeing basketball. He knew that, that was just my inner child, just having fun. Hopefully I'll be able to go back, because I would like, if I get down to the weight that I would like to be, I would like to just go back out there and referee probably for 1 year, just to say, okay, I got this weight off. I have it under control. And this was like my dream job to do, and still have fun with it and still get paid, if that makes sense.
That's the vision that you put out there, and just the energy that you're putting out there. I can 100% see you there. And yeah, back to the metformin, what I just want to touch on, which I feel like is so important to educate people on, because, you're just trusting a doctor, comes in the white coat, right? And a lot of people, they're taking that medication, but in my opinion, it's something very dangerous to do, because as we just talked about, right, your insulin was high, and you were not even eating fruit anymore. Fruit comes from nature, right? You were cutting out all your sugars. Most of the people, they have insulin resistance. Yeah, a lot of them probably eat hyper-processed foods, right? Of course, there's high fructose corn syrup, and it spikes our insulin, but you weren't doing that. Carb, cutting out the sugar, the healthy food, so to speak, right? They just contain the sugar or turn into sugar. Cutting that out, that didn't work. So that tells us that your insulin resistance was driven by something else. And when people go metformin, the numbers go down, but then it's also like a false sense of security, because now it looks like, oh, you're healthy because your number is maybe in the optimal range. But whatever is contributing to the insulin resistance is still there. And a lot of people don't think about this, because insulin resistance also doubles your risk of heart attack, of stroke. It fuels cancer. So you're just suppressing a number. You think you're being healthy, but the disease is silently brewing underneath. And that's what I think is really, really the danger about metformin and just prescribing something to mask something, because elevated risk for any of these diseases, it's still there.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I didn't understand. I was like, this doesn't make sense. I can't eat fruit. This, like you said, it's from nature. I mean, this is natural, and my body is going to respond to it this kind of way. But I didn't know. I was like, really, even with the spirulactin, it was causing my hair to thin out. And so I was getting a little, self-conscious about that, or, combing my hair and seeing clumps of hair come out. I was like, this is not supposed to happen. You do have normal shedding, but this is not your normal shedding when you're combing your hair. I didn't even want to comb my hair sometimes. I just, it was longer, but, once I lost the first 20 pounds, I cut it, because I was like, this is a new Cheryl right now.
You're already stepping into it. I mean, the transformation, I see it to you on every call, you're glowing, you're radiant. It's good to see. And
Thank
also
you.
just the diet that you're currently on, I love, that you're feeling so good on it, but also the autoimmune protocol, we're doing it because we saw autoimmune markers spiking, right? And then because it comes from your gut. So you currently have leaky gut situation where just proteins go into areas of your body, or food particles, or anything that you're basically swallowing through the mouth. And that basically is in areas where it doesn't belong, and then the immune system sees it and attacks it. So you don't have to do it lifelong, even if you're feeling good on it. But as soon as the gut is gonna be repaired, you can introduce these foods, the healthy ones, right? For example, talking about eggs, dairy. Sometimes I see it's a little bit more difficult, but I just reversed my own dairy sensitivity. So all foods I feel that are coming from nature, we should be able to eat them and eat them in abundance. I completely understand where you're coming from, because when I was sick, I was like taking my own food every place because I was just so afraid, right? I would like gain more weight, get unhealthy again. But you will learn, the more resilient and healthy your body is, the more variety of food you will be able to eat again.
Yeah, when you told me to introduce like some fiber, like the beans and the chickpeas, and I had cooked a jar of the kidney beans and whatnot. And my body, when I had took my first took a spoonful, my body was like, "Oh, these taste so good," So I was like, "Okay, I'm just going to just take it slow, day by day, take a spoonful a day or whatnot to see how my body reacts." It gave me more energy when I ate them. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. Cause most of the time beans make me like, really tired or whatnot. But this time it was different. So I was like, I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, and speaking about food fear, right? Like what is also like what we have to talk about, cortisol, and like always stressing about these things. And that's something I remember we talked about with your husband. And by the way, big shout out to him, because when Cheryl went on the lab interpretation session, he was sitting in the corner. I couldn't see him. And then he came on and really stressed, like, what can I do? How can I best support her? So he's sweet. But I remember that you also were like saying like, yeah, you had this food poisoning, and then you thinking about always like ruminating about your gut. There must be something wrong with my gut, right? And then we did the test results, and we actually saw that the main driver, like the main contributors to your current situations is, gut pathogens. We saw there's a parasitic infection going on, but mostly it's toxins. Like your gut didn't look so bad at all. So what was for you the big learning when you saw, oh, wow, like these thoughts about my gut, about the food poisoning and the effects were probably more in my head than real? And then when you saw the toxins, what came to mind there?
Yeah, when I saw the toxins, I was like, where did that come from? You consume everything from different places and you go out to dinner. You just never know whose hands are preparing it, what type of oils they're using. And it's like, where did all this come from? I mean, I'm thinking because I didn't have any symptoms other than when I had that reaction to the time we went out. Where is this coming from? And I'm like, it could be my own self. I'm poisoning my own self and not knowing. So I was like really shocked that, the things that were on that test was like, okay, let me think back to maybe, what was going on at the time. So yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I also remember, because like you mentioned, like you were going all in, and Cheryl really did. Like there was nothing that I have said to her, like, maybe we should think about that. She was like, yeah, where can I order it? How can I do it? Like she's and then the water, right? Like the water filtration system, there were a lot of toxins.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I was like, okay, I haven't got the ozone bubbler. I'm working on that, like one piece at a time. So, but I'm going to get that. I'm going to get the water filter after that. So, but right now I've just been consuming just distilled water, which it helps me. For some reason, it seems like it flushes out everything. So I've been consuming just distilled water right now, but right now so far so good. So.
Yeah. Beautiful. And like your husband also said something, you wrote in one of the intake forms, just like you're so much happier just after you lost the initial weight, right? Like the first 20 pounds just dumped off. Can you talk a little bit about, because I feel like a lot of times that's what people don't understand if they have been in these shoes, when we're carrying the extra weight, when we're trying to do everything, but it just doesn't go off. How did that really affect you back then? And how is it for you now that you just like, fine, okay, now I know that exactly where I need to go. I will get there because I know that, and it's not me that's creating this.
Yeah, just having that extra weight, just having the weight on you, you're carrying this weight. I mean, self-consciously, you have all these thoughts that even if you have like family or friends, a lot of times your family is not going to tell you need to lose weight, but they would often tell you you're getting too small. That's a good thing. So no one never shares. I don't know what it is. I like to be around honest people. And so that's why I appreciate it about basketball, because the supervisors will tell you what you need to do to improve. And so you should be getting that from your family. So if you're getting overweight or, I would be an advocate for my family. Even though I was overweight, I felt like I was healthier than them because they were always maybe sick or, they always had a lot of symptoms. I would try to assist them with that more than, and letting them and sharing information, what I know, because I have a health background. I would share information with them to see what they can do, but no one will tell you, hey, Cheryl, you're gaining too much weight or things like that. And so that mindset there is just, you're depressed. You're thinking about it all the time. You don't want to go out anywhere. You don't want to have a nice dinner with your husband or your friends because you're so worried about what kind of clothes you're going to wear. Things don't fit. I stayed away from the malls, like shopping. I stayed away from the malls. I stayed away from just shopping, period, because I knew I was like, I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror because I already knew I was like, I don't know what size I'm going to get in. So now I have my old clothes, and a lot of clothes I just want to just throw away, other than maybe some workout clothes, because I'll keep them till they just fall apart. But, but yeah, it's really it's a depression feeling, and not to the point. I'm never going to be to the point where I'm going to do something to myself, but it puts you in a low place and it doesn't feel good. You don't want to participate in anything, even with your partner or your husband. The intimacy is gone. It's like, I don't want to think about that. And now I've lost a little weight. He can't keep his hands off of me, but, but I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not finished yet. So, but I love it. But to anybody that want to lose weight, find a way. Take the time out, whatever you have, whatever someone cost is, find a way, seek help, because your eyes may not be wider than, as far as someone assisting you. They'll be able to share some more input or share more light about what's going on the inside with you. So just being overweight, period, I've known happy overweight people, but I know they're not happy on the inside. You can't be carrying that amount of weight every day. It doesn't feel good. To me, it doesn't feel good. I always felt like on the inside that I was a small person. I've always felt that. I just had, I have layers of protection over me. So if anybody just wanting to lose weight, do it, and do it, find a way to make yourself healthier, because we shouldn't be overweight, period.
And I agree with so much that you just said, that like really literally brought me back to where I was like chronically ill. For me, it was just 44 pounds, right? But it came in like 6 weeks. And I used to travel a lot. I used to be joyful. You're not doing it anymore because you're so afraid. Even like eating the little amounts at home make you gain weight. You're bloated. Your face looks puffy. For me, it was like the thinking, right? People to just think like I'm eating secretly, that I just let myself go because it's not normal, right? Because the normal person puts in the effort, and it's how I used to be, and the outcome is there. I really, really agree. It just influences so many areas of your life. People just often have just think about one area of like a weight, but no, it's so much deeper. It influences me. It did influence every single day, every morning. Like I was depressed is a big word, but there was definitely a part of depression. I mean, when you get up and you're just not happy, you're not excited for the day, right? It's just like another through it. And again, like your husband, I love the stories and the long support of you. I'm so happy that you have that support in your life. What would you recommend for any woman? Well, let me quickly like ask another question. What else would you say, like, now that you have the first little amount of weight that you lost, what becomes possible for you now, right now? What do you know? What opened up for you again?
The next thing is going to get some more clothes, and throwing the clothes that I have, because I guess it's called body dysmorphia. When you put on your old clothes, you still feel like you're overweight. So I want to get rid of a set of those clothes that I normally wear. So that way it doesn't remind me. I'll always be reminded because I have photos, but I want to be able to take that and be like, okay, and take photos and see myself trimming down as I go. But the good thing is the confidence and being able to go get clothes that fit me, that fit good, that fit nice. Now I did go and buy myself a pair of pajamas that fit. They wasn't overgrown, excessively big. So I did buy myself a pair of pajamas, but the next thing is to go buy some clothes that fit.
Yeah, and I just also want to say that you deserve that, right? Because a lot of women, and that's something that you touch a little bit on, it's an investment. It's the investment for the tests, it's the investment for the supplements. It's like half a year or a little bit longer that you're going to do this, depending on how much of root causes you have. But it's like gonna pay off lifelong. And I feel like oftentimes with women, when they're struggling or they're maybe like not moving forward, although they know they exactly need it, it's a self-worth issue, right? Get at one point where they don't even know, am I worthy to get there? Is it still able for me to get there? But I would just like want to say to every woman out there, you are worthy. Like 100% you are worthy to thrive in life every single day, to be excited, to live a life, because God gave us this world, this life to be healthy, to be thriving, to be happy. And we get so many things wrong. And unfortunately, a lot of people similar like you, we're just getting poisoned, right? And sometimes we don't understand why our reacting the way it's reacting, because it comes from our air, it comes from our water, it comes from our food. An apple shouldn't be poisonous, right? But the apple from the supermarket, it's on average 1 year in there. So it doesn't only not have nutrition, it has all this coating that after a year, it still looks nice. So many things wrong. But yeah, it's just like, that's not the way we're supposed to live. We do unfortunately have to go an extra mile to stay healthy. It should not be that way. But yeah, any final tip for any woman out there that has lost hope, that has done all the things, and I was just wondering when she's listening to you and to the story, can I ever get healthy? Can I ever lose the weight again?
The thing is, you can get healthy, and then just think about you're investing in yourself, and you're taking the things that you used to eat is still going to be there. So it's still going to taste the way it tastes. And so if you're addicted to food or things like that, that food is going to be there. Take the time out to prepare your meals at home, organic, whatever protocol that you're following. That food, put love in it, take the time to do that, and, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. Anyone, if I can do it, because I didn't think I could do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. It's just, hopefully you have a good support system. If not, I seek online. It's always someone that you probably don't know that, will support you from afar. But like I said, I have a support system with my husband. He helps me prep meals, go grocery shopping, wherever we need to go prep for the week. He eats the same thing. He may eat a little bit more, just something a little bit different, because, he doesn't have any weight to lose, but he still wants to follow, and he feels great too. But just do it. I'm all about not talking about it, but doing it. Yeah. And so that's what I'm doing, at this point.
Yeah, beautiful. I couldn't have said it in any way better. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And again, thank you so much for coming on here and being
Thank you. No, I'll thank you, because, like I said, I didn't know what else I was going to do. Surgery wasn't an option for me, but I was just going to just figure it out some kind of way. But I'm so blessed to meet you and absorb all the knowledge that you have. You have a gift of gold, so keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate you. And, just keep touching everybody that, that opens up to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's well received, all the beautiful words. But I also still have to say, I'm just giving the roadmap, the real work. That's what you're doing. You are showing up for yourself, and you're doing it. So thank you so much, Cheryl.
Thank you. Appreciate it.